MCC is finally back after its winter break, and it genuinely looks to be one of the biggest and best events yet, with some of the most competitive teams we've ever seen. But the question still remains, who will win, who will lose, and who will shock the world? These are my predictions for MCC 29. But before we begin, these are just my predictions and opinions, and to be honest, they were very difficult to make. So if you have different predictions to me, why not leave them in the comments section below, and they'll be featured in a future video. And whilst you're down there, make sure to like and subscribe as well. I would really appreciate it after a difficult few months for my channel. It would truly mean the world to me. But anyway, enough messing around. Let's start with 10th place. The Blue Bats. Look, let me get this straight. None of these teams are weak, and none of them deserve to be in last. In fact, it took me a full hour to decide my predictions, and it's literally just down to trying to guess player placements. So unfortunately for FireBreathMan, his canon debut might be trickier than in Underdogs, as his team just come in 10th place. He'll definitely be leading the Bats onwards, being phenomenal in 27 and definitely proving he has what it takes to take on the best of the best, and probably win, to be honest. That's not saying either that he hasn't got some great teammates though, as Shovel has all the experience needed for a good team, Elena has the calmness to lead, and Amesy is only getting better and better. However, given this event's almighty teams, it might just be a bit too far unfortunately to be able to battle upwards. Although, as always, I hope this team and every other prove me wrong. 9th place. The Green Geckos. Look, as I said before, I actually think any team could win given the right circumstances, so I'm going to go through the reasons that they could win, as well as why I put this team in 9th. Firstly, Purpled is broken. He's proved since joining in the tournament last year that he might be a challenger for the best player there is, and along with George, who I'm glad is in this tournament, I expect them to be quite a formidable duo, with the wonderful Goomy and Sniffrish making sure they stick on track, while still causing a bit of chaos on their way to the top. Unfortunately, this team hasn't really been focused on Minecraft in these last few months, all making amazing content in other ways, and I just don't think they'll be able to get the points needed for a high position. Although Purpled is purpled, so who knows. 8th place. The Pink Parrots. We finally get to see Tubbo and Scar on a team which honestly feels like it's been a requested duo forever. And with Antfrost and Beckyamon on their side, they definitely have a chance, as Antfrost is literally the all-knowing MCC god at this point, and Beckyamon is definitely a secret weapon given her MCC Island experience. In fact, this team almost has the opposite of the last, where they've all been making Minecraft content over the last few months. However, unfortunately, sorry Antfrost if you're watching, but I do think this team's slightly weaker than a very similar team in the Purple Penguins from MCC 28. And with this tournament being an even trickier one, that's honestly what made up my mind, but I do see this as Antfrost's S-tier season. However, before we continue, if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. It would really help me out on my way to 5k. Thank you so much, and let's move on to 7th place. The Red Rabbits. Look, when this team came out, we all knew it was going to be a banger season, but what shocked me the most was originally I thought this team would be the one to beat. I mean, it's literally got Sapnap and 5UP in, who only 3 events ago absolutely destroyed together, and along with Jack and Eric, who both always seem to get into dodgeball and then have almost the opposite results. This team was destined for greatness, and they definitely could still reach those heights, because this team is better than the mustard mummies of MCC 26, who came 5th. However, once again, it's just a case of this event being so busted, which means they just sort of ended up here, despite the fact I'm still arguing myself about it right now. So to stop that, let's get on to the next position. 6th place. The Orange Ocelots. After red always comes orange, and that's the case here as well, as we have the old men team, starting with Filzer, the man, the myth, the legend, who's coming into this event after some incredible performances despite weaker teams, so who knows what he could do in this tournament. He's joined by Smallish Beans, who's equally done brilliantly recently, as well as Impulse, who's done very well in their 2 appearances so far. And finally, Rye Guy Rocky, who despite not appearing in many events in the last few months, no one's appeared in any events in 3 months, so it's very unlikely that will even matter. As a team of 4, they make a pretty decent quad squad. Even so, with so many absolutely insane plays in this tournament, I just end up thinking that they will end up in the mid pack, and that's why they're here. 5th place, the Lime Llamas. Scott decided to not only put 1 4-time winner in a team, but 2, as Mr. All Things MCC himself, CPK, teams with the one and only Pizza Hut for what is definitely a deadly duo, especially in Ace Race. Not only do we have these 2, but also the winners from the very first event and the last event of Season 2, Kara and Solidarity, and honestly, it will all depend on how these 2 do for how amazing this team can do, but they definitely have the skills to win. Unfortunately, Solidarity also has the knack of coming 40th now and again, and whilst I definitely don't expect that to happen in this event, that's why I'm predicting them here, instead of a bit higher on the list. But they all definitely have what it takes to come up as champions, and for Pete and Callum to not only collect their 3rd, but 4th coin as well. 4th place, the Aqua Axolotls. H-Bomb is back in Aqua, which has proved time and time again to be his best team, with him winning the first tournaments of the last 2 years on Aqua. So honestly, it wouldn't shock me if he did it again, especially as he's joined by the winner of the very first tournament, Kratzy, who'll be desperate to get his 2nd tournament win, which has been a long time coming. They're also joined by 2 hermits of Cub and False, and it's honestly giving me MCC 9 Blue Bats vibes, which not only proved to be great in 9, but also All-Stars. Unfortunately though, crazy as it is to say, this tournament might be better than All-Stars. So with all that being said, as well as Kratzy's curse to be taken account of, I've placed them in 4th. Although, let's be honest, with the skill in this team, they can definitely prove me wrong. 3rd place, the Cyan Coyotes. Look, at this point it might seem like a bit of a joke to put Ranboo in a 3rd place team. I mean, we all know the curse is real, but as he joins Jojo for a 2nd event in a row, there should be quite a lot of hope for every Ranboo fan out there, as this might be his chance to finally get the coin. Especially when you take into account that Scott's looking for his 5th coin and has strategically placed himself on this team, or the fact G Nelly is just a superb player to have on your team. With her callouts and strategies, I mean, this team really looks strong for the tournament, along with being a great team to watch. Unfortunately though, we all know the curse is too strong, and that's why they're here on my list. I mean, genuinely, I do think they'll come 3rd place, but also the curse is just too OP. 2nd place, the Yellow Yaks. 2 captains in 1 team, and neither of them are leading. This is an outrage. Instead, Captain Fruitberries will have this team shipshape and ready for the win, with Captain Sneak and Captain Sparkles coming off a win in MCC 28, and with Captain Puffy also on board, surely this team has a great chance. I mean, honestly, this team feels so right for MCC, and I expect they'll be very strong in many of the team games, all being skilled players that can fight for the top, and with so much experience, I can't see them missing out, even with so many teams that are just insane. I mean, again, it's just by margins, but it's such a strong team that I could see them pulling into Dodgeball at the end of the event. where they'll face. First place, the Purple Pandas. And on top we have the Purple Pandas, which even in this insane tournament somehow managed to still look broken in my opinion. We start with Punz, who's another winner from the last event and a very strong all-rounder that may have been disappointed by his recent performances, but even so I fully believe he can once again lead a team to victory and avenge the first event of Season 2. Alongside him sits Foolish, who was absolutely crazy in MCC 27 and is honestly one of my players to look out for this season, because with a few more events and a bit more practice he could match up to his Valorant skill. I mean, he's already deadly with a bow, which goes perfectly with Ponk, who again was another MCC 27 legend and one of the best parkour players that are in the event, and with 2 potential games in this tournament, could we see a pop-off performance? Finally, Michael McChill brings his immense ace race skill that he'll surely win for 6th time in a row this event. But for real, Michael is a great player, and with him on this team, it's just nuts. And from what I've seen so far, a bit slept on in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see if they can deliver on the big day. But that's my predictions for MCC 29. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe and maybe check out my 2 top 100 Minecraft Championship player videos whilst you're down there, because I spent hours on those videos and I'd greatly appreciate it if you showed them some support. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy MCC is back. And of course, peace.